War never changes. This is the story of Martin Winters. My grandfather making the choice to go with Preston and his group. He couldn't leave them alone. He felt like it was his duty to protect the people, even though the United States that he was a part, that he fought and defended, has been long gone, but the people still remained. He told me that Preston reminded him of the old world, what he read in history books about the Minutemen and their cause during the Revolutionary time. He chose to help them and to go with them to see if to see what would happen. He had pressing matters to attend to, finding Sean, but he felt like it was his duty to help these people. Maybe his maybe the soldier in him came back for a brief moment of time, and he respected Preston. But just looking back at the old world, he still wondered if all that honor, duty, sense of pride, and patriotism was still there. He saw that in Preston that day, where he wanted to defend the people of this new wasteland, the Boston wasteland. Moving through the old streets of where he was from, he taught about survival techniques, what you could take, use, even build. Back in the day he was quite a handyman, and that seemed in his mind to be a very, very powerful skill to help rebuild a new world, or rebuild the old. Going through most of this, he met some interesting characters. Mama Murphy, who had the power of the sight, some sort of fortune teller or clairvoyance, but he never really believed it, but she got some things right about Sean. And there was the then there's the Long family, Marcy, the mother who lost her son in the Battle of Quincy, which, well, which to this day we still have problems with the Gunners, and Quincy's still their territory, but hopefully one day we'll change that. Rebuild an old town that was supposed to be there. But that's a different story for a different time. Mr. Long, though, grief-stricken and sad. He always told himself not to let him get him down, but the loss of his son was way too powerful. Never stopped him doing his job, though. And then we met Sturgis, the tinkerer. Sturgis had some great potential as a maintenance man, or an engineer, if the world still existed. Probably have a high-paid job working with Robco or General Atomics, or he would have been in construction. Preston, though, eccentric. Looking at the old Minutemen statues of the Revolutionary time, would always think that's what we strive to fight for. But I don't think there'll be any British invasions anytime soon. As going back to Sanctuary and where he began, looking into just looking into an abyss in his head. All his neighbors who aren't there anymore, friends, family, brought quite a bit of sorrow to my grandfather's mind. But after fighting alongside the Preston, my grandfather thought it was time to tell him the truth. Tell him of who he really is. I still remember Preston telling me that story about how my grandfather used to live here in Sanctuary before the bombs. He said he was the most, what's the word? The most handsome looking ghoul in all of Boston. With skin. Preston couldn't believe my grandfather was 200 years old. In this cryostasis up in Vault 111 was something fairy tale, sci-fi like, but they actually achieved it. But overall, with Vault Tech anyway, it was it was just all a big plan, a big social experiment. They did nothing more than take the lives of innocent Americans and played with them. But when the bombs finally dropped, they kept up with their work. A lot of vaults revolted against them, and a lot of them stuck with the plan, stayed the course, and, well, most disappeared into history, with people ever actually never leaving the vault or outside the door, seeing the new world. Sometimes I think that's better. People of an old world who haven't been living through the wastes wouldn't be able for it, but, you know, there's been a few that have. A few that we met on our journey. My grandfather got offered to help Preston. Help him rebuild an old world. Help the people. So my grandfather took the opportunity. He was heading to a place called Tenpenny's Bluff. I think it's just a little mountain. It's on a mountain anyway, not a mountain, a cliff. A little shack. 2 people living there at the time now, but that place has changed quite a lot. It's now a small supply depot and crop field. My grandfather wanted to get right back into action. He wanted to help those people and see what was going on, what he could do for them. But unfortunately, he couldn't bring power armor along with him. The first suit of power armor, actually, he wore, which is on display now today in the town, next to the Minutemen Memorial. It's a good thing he knew how to repair and maintenance most of his equipment. He could get most of it fixed and ready to go, but not all of it. The Vault-Tec Pip-Boy also helped. It brought up like an interface, so it helped it, you know, helped him find out which parts it needed exactly to get the armor up and running. But even if he repaired it all, he would need more fusion cores to get it going. So in his mind, he'll leave it alone. He'll leave it there for now anyway, until he has more fuel to fuel it. Tenpenny's Bluff. I feel like my grandfather got used to fighting in the waste by now. Blowflies. Creepy. Large. I don't know. I don't know what the hell they would have been back in the old world. Probably the common housefly. Small, tiny, never really bothered anyone. But evolving, they were able to have their own defense and weapons to use against any bigger predators, but well, as my grandfather was about to make his journey towards Tenpenny's Bluff, he saw something at the corner of his eye. A cellar in one of his old neighbor's houses. Well, next to it anyway. When he went inside, he was amazed that he got so lucky to be in a vault while his neighbor probably never even got a chance to live in here. Or he did, who knows, but there was a lot of food and supplies left there. Anything that he could use on his journeys ahead. He just sat down and thinking. No, he didn't sit down. He stood there while he was taking the supplies and the resources that he needed to help. He just thought, what happened to him? Or them? He had a wife and a child as far as he remembered. I wondered if they lived a happy life and maybe some of their descendants are running around today. But no one knows, really. Boston has truly become a terrifying place. He thought back to when he was on the roof of the Museum of Freedom, the holotape he found from a staff sergeant from the vertibird. He wanted to hear it. He wanted to know what was in that man's thoughts, his last words, a mission report, anything. Oh. A grim story about men. Staff Sergeant Mike Daly, his report about how the world ended. Him and his crew were in a vertibird, an old war helicopter, transporting troops and supplies and providing support. These helicopters are fearsome creatures, but as my grandfather listened to that old tape of a staff sergeant who probably deserves to be here today, well, in a world that wasn't destroyed by nuclear weapons or anything like that, he deserves something better. He was a soldier of the United States, defender of peace and keeper of freedom. My grandfather chose to relax instead of heading straight to Tenpenny's Bluff. He was still tired from his long sleep. He chose to have a drink that night and sat on the couch and went to sleep. Till the morning. Till he's ready to go fight the good fight and help the people. He'll just rest and sleep. For now.
War never changes, as he always said. But the reason you have to fight that war makes all the difference. These are the stories of Martin Winters.